Hello, my sons. So I have been working on something on the side. And for those of you who maybe don't follow my TikTok, which, okay, fine, little hurt. But I mentioned this a while back, and I am at a point where I want to start showing it. I'm trying to make an Xbox Series X mini fridge into a PC. Don't know if I'm going to name that in the title or not, but it's fine. But I've run into some complications, that complication being I lost my side job. For those of you who've been following my channel, I got fired basically for wanting to learn more, which I guess was not good for that pizzeria. Whatever. So, that being said, let's talk about everything I've done thus far. So, I actually recently met a dude on Facebook Marketplace, of all places, and he's coming back in, October. But he does a lot of 3D prints for museums and stuff like that. And we have a 3D scan of a door hinge. Or, sorry, not even a hinge. It's a door frame. And that would be for the Xbox Series X mini fridge. The actual fridge frame itself. I have had to take this apart maybe 2 times in my life. First time was years ago when I wanted to try and do this project. I eventually I had 2 green Oloy DDR4 RAM chips, right? And it was 16 gigs, so I was like, okay, cool. This is meant to be an ITX build. For those of you who don't know what an ITX build is, also, it's like the smallest form factor of a PC. I've only ever seen one individual actually do it, and it was such a sloppy job. And I thought I could do a little better. When I met Spawnwave, he actually gave me a good idea as well. We'll get into in a little bit. But the scanning of this overall, I think I paid the guy, because he was interested in this project as well. I think I paid him like $50 to scan it, and I drove 2 hours out to get this scanned. Now, you might be saying to yourself, okay, what came of this? Well, recently I've been working on the actual frame. Like frame for frame. It's not done. It's not done, and it's not perfect, but I've measured it, and I'm, getting into the details of everything. So, you could see the holes and such. I've cleaned that up best I could. Even though I'm 3D printing this, I'm trying to keep topology good. This way, if anyone would like to recomplete this project, they can. I will be making this free use for everyone. Unless Linus, of course, decides to do this before me, which I'll be I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be pretty sad, because I put a lot of hours into this. I don't actually have a lot of money to do this. But it was an idea that I've wanted to do ever since someone said this is basically just an ITX case, right? It's something stupid. I've done stupid projects before in the past. In high school, I wanted to make a dice block speaker by splicing 2 555 timers, and you'd have a speaker for each timer. Unfortunately, I think I lost the speakers, but I do have the laser cutout if I ever wanted to get back to it. I think it's at my parents' place. But let's take a look at what's going on over here, because I have 12 iterations of this, and I'll put it in a longer video going over everything that I've done. But I just want to take you through the basics. So this physical piece, I don't know why, but this the fridge actually has 2 iterations. The second iteration is what I'm going off of. So the first iteration, it was all plastic. It was all plastic. This whole thing would be a bubble of plastic. And this iteration has an actual tin to it, right? I don't know if I will repurpose the metal or not. I've kept it just in case. So that's the frame I'm going with. And the reason I'm keeping these screws in is because I feel like I'm going to have some pegs go back that you could screw in, maybe some PVC pipe. I'm still working out the kinks on that. I wanted to really get this frame done first. But I also needed to measure out the other PC parts, which, again, we'll get into in a second. So let's go through the door hinge itself. I have to add magnet slots on the bottom because I still have the original magnets, and if I don't, honestly, I actually have an extra spare Xbox fridge I got for $20 on Facebook Marketplace when I had the spare money, and I had the extra job. I've been looking for work, God knows where. The company I work for right now, they're not willing to give more hours, and that's fine. But alas, I have the bump underneath. I don't know. I'm trying to make this as one-to-one as possible, so much so that I even went out of my way to get green filament. But if you can see on camera over here, we have some different nubs and different, sections. They're recreated, of course, and these sections for the door hinges, this one is very different. And this one is not so. It's rounded. Or sorry, which one's the rounded one? Sorry, this is the rounded one, and then this one is the one with the hard edge. Why they have two different hinges for the same thing, I have no idea. Right? I have no idea. It beats me. Right? Like, I don't know why they made it so complicated and convoluted. So I recreated that. And of course I had help. I have a friend who's helping me with this just because when it comes to retopologizing, that's something that I'm getting a little better at. Mainly because this one actually can use tries. When you model things for games, you want to make them in quads first, and then once you export them, they will actually be subdivided into tries. No, that's something that my degree never taught me, so thanks to my college for that, not teaching me that. I really probably should have gone to Full Sail, but regardless, as you can see, the pegs underneath, they go all the way through. Now, I'm going to print these segments out first, these specific segments, just because I need to test out the screws and the hinge holes. And now I won't be using the green filament for it. Again, this is just like part, one of whatever of this. And this one, there's like a small section underneath that I had to concave out. So originally it was just, this was flat, so I kind of had to measure it with like tailor's tape to get that together. Wasn't easy, but the problem for anyone at home is that measuring something from Blender to real life is a lot more complicated, especially when you have all of these different curves and angles. And for those of you who are asking, why am I not doing this back piece? I'm doing this lip part. This lip part will be done. But why I'm not doing this back piece? Because the parts are going to help hold it up. Now, everything else about this, we went over the useless notches that I don't know why the fridge had. The hinges and how they're made, they're made. This lip just needs that one portion. Again, that's for the magnet part, because that part is the magnet. And then everything else, you just need some sections under here, and then, I'll be good to 3D print. The original took up so many tries. I had to redo this basically one-to-one. The scan, it's not that the scan didn't come out the way I wanted. I don't want to make it seem like the scan didn't come out the way I wanted, because it very much did. It's just hard because it is a reflective plastic. And when you have a reflective plastic with the chemical substance he used, it makes it very difficult to scan. And he did a wonderful job. I'm blessed that he, was able to get as much as he did. We tried for quite some time, right? And I'll never understand how he does the things he does, because he showed me he 3D prints stuff for museums. Thankfully, he gave me a really, really cheap price and did it for the love of the game. Hello, Leo. The tinfoil is meant so that you stop bouncing on the couch. Anyway, sorry, Mike. For those of you who may or may not see in my video, I have tinfoil on there, but instead he's playing with it. At first week he was scared of it. Now he's just playing with it. I don't know how to keep him off the top of the couch. Anyway, so I gotta make some changes and stuff. But this was the original. I want to just show everyone how far we've come. So it's looking a lot cleaner. And when I ripped this off the first time, I want you to keep in mind that I did it in hopes of using this. But then I slowly realized that I would not be able to use it, not just because that the plastic piece, it clips in. So you will have, you might get this, right? Like, I might get this. And you might be saying, why don't you use plastic glue? And it's like, yeah, but it still doesn't look clean. right? There's like glue, you use super glue, you can kind of buff out the crack or the chip or whatever. It didn't, to me, it didn't seem right. Now, Leo. Oh, you're just playing on the couch. Okay. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Oh boy. So, we have an SFX 1000 watt small power supply unit. You might be saying to yourself, why is it up here? The answer is, it couldn't really have gone anywhere else because the air outtake, the air will be pulled in here and pushed up, right? Like this is going to be pulled in from the back and pushed up. Spawnwave, your video actually helped a lot with this, just to kind of see the inner workings of the Xbox and kind of just, you know, how their airflow is taken into account. I don't think I really used it that much. And you're going to see here that this is the fan that I originally planned to use. Unfortunately, I'm not using that anymore. I am using the, this was the UFO, just type in UFO CPU cooler. I forget what the actual make and model was. I gotta find it too. But, the i70C Cool Master, CPU cool. Now, the reason I did this is because the LGA 1851 bracket set. I tried even buying an extra bracket and taking a look to see how much I needed to chip off to try and make it a custom bracket because I really wanted this CPU to have that cool, weird UFO thing, just because it was stupid and funny. And originally, I had drawn up concepts of a screen inside the fridge door. I might make other iterations to this, and of course I have these 4 green Enermax fans, 80 millimeters I think is what they are. And you might be saying to yourself, well, why these? And I was like, 1, because they're green and they look cool. 2, I think like I kind of just miss the early 2000s aesthetics on things where like everything was like a you know, regular color, and people are like, oh, you'd probably spray paint it, and I'm like, you're right, but then I gotta take apart the fan, and I'm a little scared to do that, so, plus, it just seemed better. I get, like, these were cheap. These were really cheap. I also had other stuff, but I have a fan splitter right here. I made these with, Krita, you know, and I made them to the best of my ability. Eventually, I'm going to have cords going to each and every single one of the slots. Because on the back of the fridge, there needs to be slots for everything. I have to cut out and kind of figure out how to do this, right? It's a long project. I don't expect myself finishing this within the year or 2 or anything. This is just something I kind of poke at every once in a while, and I'm not YouTube famous. However, the biggest hurdle was getting this. I've saved for like, I want to say 4 months to get this. And I know I don't have enough for a new PC because these parts go specifically together for everything else. And people might be saying like, well, you know, in your last video, you were like, oh, you need a new PC. I was like, this is like the for fun thing. And I know I shouldn't have done the for fun PC first. I'm going to be very honest. I know I shouldn't have. But I felt like I was at a point where, like, okay, I had a stable job, I had money, let me do the fun thing first, right? Because, like, this PC wasn't crapping out that bad in that period of time. Now it's starting to give out a little bit, because parts are from 2019, 2017, and I think 2018, depending on what you look at. But I still make videos, I still, you know, I try, right? There is going to be a little stand on the bottom that I will 3D print. And the reason is because there will be holes on the bottom, there will be holes in the back, and then obviously this and the exhaust for this. Originally I wanted it to line up with the back of the fridge. And do I have it? I do actually. Hold on. Oh no. Oh. Okay. Don't pay attention to that noise. It was totally fine. Okay. Oh, so, see, on the back of the fridge, there's holes here, and there's a slot here. I originally wanted to put the motherboard here with the 2 fans here. The problem is that the graphics card, and Linus, if you're watching this, I hope you are. because I really wanted a 4070. It was a small one, and it had like a green accent. I eventually just chose the Halo one because I thought it would fit, and unfortunately it didn't. I'm going to just Google some of the parts that I actually was going to use beforehand. So, let me just pause real quick. Okay, we're back. So, basically, this was one of the first graphics cards. This EVGA GTX 1080 Ti. It's green, it looked aesthetically pleasing, and it was smaller. But obviously, because any 1080 Ti is one of the most go-to graphics cards. It was my go-to graphics card for probably shoot. I built this computer. I built it in 2019 before the plague. Oh wow, that's actually insane. Anyway, yeah, I had the red one. I had a red one that was similar to this. Can't find it anywhere, right? Cannot find this graphics card anywhere on Earth at all. Fine. Then there was this one. Same thing. Couldn't find it anywhere. This is the 4060, not the 4070, sorry. It was the 4060 I was talking about. I also thought about doing the 970. Couldn't find that anywhere. I looked high and low, right? And then I also had the Alloy DDR4 RAM, and I have the green version, but I looked high and low for it. It's got orange, red, yellow, grayish, but the green variant seems to just have disappeared in all of existence. I don't know if anyone else has the green Alloy. Like, it looks like this, but green. It genuinely looks... Okay, here we go. This is, like, one of the few pictures I've ever seen of this. It's, like, new to me. This is actually new to me. Of this RAM, right? Like, this is... genuinely, like, this green was the color I was going for, because Xbox, right? So how am I theming things with Xbox now? Well, I'll explain it. Green fans, Xbox. The white, fun fact, my local GameStop actually closed, and they had saved for me an Xbox Series S. It was white, it was the 1 terabyte. I barely used it, but I bought it out of respect for the manager who has known me since I was a child. She's like, "Oh, Hunter, we saved this for you." She's the sweetest lady ever, and I miss her dearly. I don't know if she still works at GameStop. We're friends on Facebook. I actually should probably reach out to her now. But, okay, white for that, right? And then the RAM was gonna be green or red of the DDR4, and I had to change that because the DDR socket was not the same. I didn't think that part through fully. I didn't realize they updated to DDR5 already because, again, it's been years since I built a computer. And then, of course, the smallest power supply, but that gave the most power. Okay, so what does this all entail, right? Like, how am I going to set up a bracket for this and everything else like that? And the answer is wood. Because that is what I was going for when I talked to Spawnwave. I had asked him, should I just do aluminum? Because I took my old chassis, I kind of, ripped it up a little bit. And I have the aluminum plating that will fit that motherboard. They didn't change the socket for that, thankfully, right? I also had other pieces of aluminum that could go inside it and make it look a little more aesthetic. I have other stuff that could be seen as aesthetic. Old green hard drive fans that are, green. This is just gonna have an M.2 SSD. I originally had a hard drive here, right? I had a hard drive here. The problem is that all of the wires in here need to mesh, and I don't know if they are going to mesh, because I have to have a wire going from here all the way down to here. I don't know if you can see it. Hell, I can barely see it. Yeah, there's going to be some wires from there. And the next big issue that I'm going to have an issue with is mounting the graphics card to this with the display ports, the HDMI ports, so on and so forth. And I'm asking anyone who is willing to help me out with this. Maybe not even financially, but like advice. Like, I beg you guys, like, reach out to Linus. If you, like, I would love to work with Linus. I love Linus. I'm sorry, like, stupid projects like this, like, I am very jealous he got to do the Hot Wheels thing. Like, that was an idea I wanted to do ages ago, because I actually had that as a kid. And for whatever reason, I think my mom just got rid of it. We also had the Shrek TV. Got rid of it. I was very sad. But that's life. You know, and I was a GameCube kid, so that was, like, perfect for the GameCube. I will say, one thing I wasn't expecting was the multi-fan port. So, I might eventually get rid of the fans. I'm very sad, too. I've had to scrap a lot of ideas for this. Eventually, I'm just gonna have a big old box of parts. And I mean, I still have a box of parts and wires and stuff. I think I still got the wire from my old power supply from, my 1080 Ti build. Mind you, also, these were the big scans. Probably should show these. Yeah, these were the high definition and quote-unquote low definition ones. The poly counts on this will... Yeah, okay. Oop, there we go. Yeah, the poly counts on this are insane, and going through all of these to try and... I'm not going through them one by one. I'm taking, like, planes and stuff, extruding them and stuff. I made a game before with 2 of my friends. I would never do something so strenuous. But I think that this was fun to make, and it still is fun to make, because I have the dimensions of the fridge right here. I have it set up so that I can set cables between the certain parts. I have everything measured out, and I can continue to measure them out. I just wanted to talk about it. That's pretty much it. I got Pac-Man World 2 coming out next week. I pre-ordered that ages, like, when that came out. It's only $30. I was like, okay. And I did Pac-Man World 1 because I had that, so, you know. A lot of game reviews coming out, but I'm making motions. I got my book as well. Not gonna advertise that here. That's a love letter to, you know. Anyway, but that aside, I will say that this has been taking a lot of my time. Because I've been thinking about how I can do this, finagle this, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wood, and what I'm going to do, let me move my head down a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is take the wood and glue it to the frame, right? Like, I think that's what I'm genuinely going to do. Have the back open, right? So it's going to be green wood. You got to sand it, stain it, mark where the holes are gonna go, where the screws are gonna go. I think that's what I'm gonna do, because that was what Spawnwave talked to me about, because he was like, one of the biggest things for PCs that I keep seeing is wood, and I thought he was crazy until I started looking up some stuff. Especially since the chassis itself, for the most part, is plastic, and mind you, I have like 2 more of these things. I've been trying to hold on to them for a while. And you know, I mean, I'm blessed to have subsidized housing right now, where like my life is like, I'm not in the green, I'm just slightly above the red, right? Just slightly above the red. I'm making do, trying my best, especially because I've tried to cover hot topics, make content, that kind of thing. But, I've made a few short videos in the last couple of days. Not the quality I normally do, but this is also not the normal like, I'm just doing this for fun at this point. This one, like, I wanted to talk about this for ages. Let's see here. Also, the CPU is going to be an i7, 2nd gen i7. I got a deal at, like, Micro Center, with that and, like, one of the motherboards. I didn't want the RAM because it wasn't red. And I did eventually get red DDR5 RAM. I don't even know what brand it is. Something Force, I think it is. But, look, I think with everything going on right now, I'm happy to say that this is the first part of whatever I'm doing with this. Because I've wanted to make this for years, and now it's coming together. I just think once I'm done with this and I test out this and the handle and the magnets, especially the magnets here. Let me show you the other side real quick. The magnets. There's like little slots for the magnets, right? In my terrible Logitech camera. There's little slots for the magnets, so I think that it's going to be fine. I just don't have... I went to Home Depot. I was like, how expensive is wood? And then I was like, oh my god, Canada, please chop down some trees and send them to the US because my goodness. That was yeah. So like it's weird because I have like some money for some stuff. Food, fine. A few games here and there to review for the channel, but I'm actually like I'm getting to a point where I might actually trade in some games just because I have to. And I've had this collection for years, so I'm hoping not. We'll see. Overall, let me know what you guys think down below. I really would like advice and help. Any artists, any 3D artists, any PC builders, anyone who's willing to lend a hand in the comments, I would be so grateful. Spawn Wave, that wood idea was probably the most helpful tip because it has given me so much freedom afterwards, because I'm probably going to finagle this around now based on that. This is what I have so far, because there's going to be holes at the top, which, mind you, taking this thing apart as well, I had to, like, shimmy out the curves. I wish I had something thin to shove in there and pry it out, but So, I don't have a lot of tools. I have a friend who has a lot of tools, but even they don't have the tools that would be probably more pertinent to reverse engineering a mini fridge, which, you know, it's a very dumb thing now that I said it out loud. I'm reverse engineering a mini fridge. Anyway, this pole as well was actually meant to be a metal bracket, because originally I was going to have 4 metal poles that would like hold this whole thing up. That being said, I don't know if the metal pole thing is still going to hold true, right? Because you would need, oh jeez, I did the math on it, and I think I needed like a thicker pole. I think this was the I think this was the thickness of the pole now that I'm thinking about it, because it has to be able to hold like 8 pounds of pressure from the graphics card, because that graphics card is beefy. Unless of course I just switch out the graphics card again, which would really suck. The stages, I don't have the resources to really keep switching out parts like this. This UFO thing though, totally got for free. It was fine. It was fine. I know it works. The fans, some of them were free from my uncle because he had old PC parts. The problem is he didn't have enough. So I had to buy a few more. And the piece on the back, that's like 20 bucks. Like, this was like 20 bucks. I was like, alright, fine. So, keep that in mind. Anyway, guys, again, if you have any insight, any tactical knowledge, if you're Spawn Wave and you saw this and you actually have some feedback, if you're Linus and have some feedback, or Carter PC, I don't know, I'm just name calling people now at this point. I don't think Carter PCs does these kinds of builds, or his friend who, oh god, I can't remember his friend's name. Anyway, just the PC building community, I would greatly appreciate any help. I don't want your money, just your time. That's really all I'm asking for. Other than that, you know, if you do want to help, just a comment, a like, a post, a share, or, you know, maybe something detailed, right? Or you can reach out to me. It's not like I'm hard to find. That being said, the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm like, I want to work on it, but it's also like 9:30 at night, so I'm just gonna go play some games and kind of let my mind mellow out, or maybe draw the cover for my book. I don't care which, but you guys are awesome. And what do you guys think of this going from this to this, and then eventually being put into a PC? Mind you, the airflow is that of an L shape, so intake is through the back and shoots up to the top. with a little disbursement from the small. This is probably the smallest CPU cooler I've ever held. So keep that in mind. What do you guys think? Is airflow good? Airflow not good? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, all right, bye. Hi. Okay, so this is like the healthy food part in the end, or the health tip or whatever. I didn't have enough power in my phone today to even have like music at the gym, so I was very sad. I was gonna put something else completely different in here, but I went to Sprouts afterwards, and they finally had the new Basic Bear ice cream, which I was so happy. It is literally just pumpkin spice French vanilla, and again, Whole Foods. Honestly, an ice cream for Bear sponsor would be great, because wow. Yeah, their slogan, "The future of food is in the past," which, yeah, I don't feel like, I'm sorry, I don't feel bad eating this ice cream, like, ever. Like, it melts and everything else like that. I wanted to treat myself just because I talked about the flavor, and honestly, it was like, there was 3 left. There was 3 of these left, so I'm embracing my inner white girl with some pumpkin spice. Probably should have done this in an October episode, but oh well. Basic Bear pumpkin spice French vanilla. It is made with milk, eggs, raw honey, pumpkin skim milk, egg yolk, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and allspice. I'll get my genuine. So it tastes like pumpkin pie. Why does that taste like pumpkin pie ice cream? You know, it's funny. Pumpkin pie gives me such a weird texture. Like, I love the taste, but the texture is weird. I hate this. I hate that I like this. I hate that I like this. Why do I like this? Dang it. I hate that I like this. Alright, anyway, guys. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I am not sponsored by Ice Cream for Bears. It's just I really like this brand, and I want everyone to eat healthier. And I just think low ingredient foods is the way to go. I have lost a lot of weight, but that's, you know, I'm not a fitness influencer. I'm not sponsored by anyone. My opinions are mine alone. But honestly, you don't Ice Cream for Bears. I'm talking to the microphone just for you. You could totally, well, really, you could totally sponsor me. Come on. Listen, I don't even want money. I just want ice cream from you guys. Come on. Just a little bit. Alright, anyway, guys. Thank you, all of you, so much. Have a wonderful morning, evening, night. I don't know. Anyway, bye.